Hey Ottawa, this is your Monday market snapshot for the Ottawa real estate market on Monday, November 13th, 2023. My name is Annalee Rice. I'm a realtor here in Ottawa, Ontario, and every week I bring you the details on what's going on in the Ottawa real estate market. So for this week, I've got not only the weekly stats, but I finally have the monthly Ottawa Real Estate Board stats, just a couple slides, and I have broken out a few new graphs for the average sale price for different property classes. So stay tuned for that. Let's go. Okay, first off, let's look at the active listings and sales over the last week. So the active listings are down across property types, most notably for the detached market. And the sales are up across most property types. Condos were down slightly, and we'll see where that was in later slides. The sales for detached market was up by 15 this last week. When we look at the inventory in a graph form, we can see that the active listings, that's the green line, has been on a slow decline for the last, this is the third week in a row. So it peaked 4 weeks ago. And we can see that both the conditional sales and the confirmed sales, that's the orange and red lines, both increased this week. And the overall inventory is starting a bit of a decline, and we'll see whether or not that continues through the fall. I expect it will. Expect it'll decline over the next couple of months, all the way into probably January, and sales will most likely start to slow down as well. As the inventory starts to slow down, buyers have less new options to choose from, so the sales will slow down as well. When we look at the new listing breakdown, we had 311 properties that were listed this week, and of those properties that were listed, 110 of those, or 35%, that's a bit higher than normal, were relisted, and 201, or only 65%, were new to the market this week. And we see there also the sales remaining pretty steady. Okay, so when we look at the properties that sold this week, we see that 29% of the homes that sold this week sold without any conditional period. It's a bit of a blip from what we've seen the last month or so, and it pulled up the average for the last 4 weeks, it pulled it up to 22%. We'll keep an eye on that over the weeks to come to see, but I have no reason to believe that that would stay that high. 9% of the sales this week sold within 7 days, and 43% of those sold with no conditions. And 52% of the homes that sold this week had sold within 30 or fewer days. Next, we'll move on to looking at what happened in the different regions of the city. First off, we have the central urban region inside the Greenbelt. The active listings were down for detached and condos, up slightly for townhomes, although there aren't very many townhomes in that region. And the sales were up for detached and down quite significantly for condos, which is the main reason why the number of condo sales was down this week across the city. In Canada and Stittsville, we have the inventory dropping across property types this week, and the sales were up for detached and town, slightly down for condos. In Barrhaven, we had a slight decrease for inventory across property types and increase for sales across property types. And in Orleans, we had a drop in active listings for detached and towns and a bit of an increase for condos, and sales were down significantly for detached. It was a slow week for sales for detached homes in Orleans, and up slightly for towns and condos. Next, we have the full data in table format for the detached market and the townhomes and the condos. So this is just going to be a bit of a quick one. I've got the monthly snapshot for the Ottawa Real Estate Board. And as I've mentioned before, the stats that they provide are different than what I pull from my stats weekly. My stats are all based on the City of Ottawa boundaries, and it's all sales. Doesn't matter whether it was sold by somebody from the Ottawa Real Estate Board or a different board. The stats for the Ottawa Real Estate Board are simply the Ottawa Real Estate Board members. Okay, so the October stats are that we had 721 residential, that's detached in town semis, sold, and 222 condos. The sales are down for both of those market segments compared to October 2022. And the average sale price is up for the residential class and down slightly for the condos. Again, condos are a lot more volatile. They have, month to month, they can vary up and down 5% in sale price, just depending on what sells. And the average sale price for the month of October was just shy of 645,000. Okay, so this next slide is the year-to-date stats for 2023, and so this takes into account all of the sales through the calendar year, and it's comparing it to the same time last year, so 2022. So this is why you're seeing lots of negatives. As we know, the early part of 2022 had record high sales prices and sales volume, and so it pulled up the averages for 2022. These negatives have been shrinking. The numbers have been getting smaller throughout the year in 2023, but they're definitely not going to catch up to what we saw in 2022 overall. The average sale price, that's the 658, 671, has been slowly climbing over the last few months, but again, it's not gonna get up to what the average sale price was in 2022. So let's look at the next couple slides for some graphs. So these are new graphs. This is for the City of Ottawa boundaries, average sale price detached by year. So I've broken out all the way back to 2014, so nearly the last 10 years. And you can see I've sort of started with the really light color, getting darker as we get closer to present year. And so the important part here is you just look to see where the black line, that's the 2023 line, is in comparison to 2022, which is the dark green one. So when you're looking at October values, we're above the October 2022 values and actually slightly above the October 2021 values. And you can see the early 2022 values were well above. They were peaked above the $1 million for the detached market. But we'll just keep an eye and see how the 2023 values finish off the year in comparison to both 2022 and 2021. This one here is for the semi-detached market, and as you see with all the little ups and downs on all the month to month, it's a much more volatile market. You can't compare average sale prices across the board. And I think I'm going to actually break this out into a bit of a separate video at some point, because there are some seriously different areas of the city, and a semi-detached in Westboro versus a semi-detached in Canada or Nepean are completely different. And that's why we get these very different values. And that's a lot smaller of a market. But as you can see, the 2023 values are on par with 2021 values and slightly above 2022 values. And for the townhomes here, we see the high peak there at the beginning of 2022 is up nearly at 750. And the sale prices for 2023 have been quite steady throughout the year. This was the first kind of major, I call it major, dip for the year. And right now we're on par with 2022 values. And you can see the prices in late 2021 were actually on the rise there, leading into the peak prices of 2022. And finally, so for this one, I actually didn't separate out apartment style versus townhome style for condos, but you can see again, condo market is much more volatile. It goes up and down really depending on what type of condo sells that month. But you can see that the 2023 values have been sort of above, and they've just dipped below 2022 values, but they're pretty steady. And they're below the peak 2022 values, but we've been pretty steady, pretty solid with the 2022 above 2021 values. Okay, so hopefully you like those last few graphs. Let me know in the comments whether or not they make more sense than having them all on one graph. I do like your feedback to know whether or not what I provide is helpful. You can leave comments in YouTube comments, or you can get in touch. My details are here on the graph, and I hope you have a fantastic week and are bundled up for all the snow and colder weather that we're seeing, especially today. Have a great week.